Thank you for your interest in or your purchase of the RICKMO lift system. After the motor has been determinated and the removal of the belts and guards is completed, the connection of your RICKMO lift system can begin. This video will cover the following: installation of the lift rings on the motor, installation of the winch and cable, rolling the motor into the upright position, reinstallation of the motor. First, the installation of the lift rings on the motor. The arrows on the rings will be located opposite of the motor feet, aligned with the lifting eye bolt, and point to one another, with the top ring having the center bars for the cable connection. To ease the installation, first install the two front rods adjacent to the arrows and the rear rod opposite from the weatherhead into the top ring and slide onto the motor, aligning the arrow with the lifting eye bolt. Install the bottom ring, then insert the remaining rod from the bottom. The all-thread rods should be tightened alternately to ensure an even fit, and only be tightened to a good, snug, tight condition. Next, installing the winch and cable. A cable inspection should be conducted prior to each lift. Position the winch with the mounting plate angled up to the top of the motor. Place it into the receiver and install the locking pin and the keeper. Unlock the clutch, pull the cable out, running it over the pulleys, and install the pin in the top lift ring. To avoid a cable overrun, hold hand pressure on the spool while pulling the cable. If an overrun should occur, be sure to straighten the cable before proceeding to the cable tensioning to prevent damage to the cable. On some models, the cable will pass over the winch side pulley, through the support plate and tube, then over the motor side pulley and connect to the top lift ring. With the clutch re-engaged and the power connected, apply tension to the cable until it becomes tight. The winch will move in the receiver. Next, install the safety bolts at each of the pulleys. It is very important to assure the loop crimp of the winch cable is not overrunning, fouling the motor side pulley at this time. The bolts securing the motor to the mounting plate may now be removed and the motor lowered. If required, hand pressure will swing the motor for the weatherhead to clear the support structure. Caution: never walk or stand under a suspended load. Next, rolling the motor into the upright position. With the motor stand in the upright position on the cart, lower the motor to align the bolt holes of the motor or adjustable base with the holes on the stand. Insert a minimum of 2 bolts diagonally across from one another, finger tight. Loosen and disconnect the cable. Install the anti-crimp plate using the pin at the lift ring and clevis at the cable end. Now raise the motor enough to clear the cart, pulling on the bottom feet until the heel of the stand is over the wheels of the cart. While lowering the motor, lift on the feet of the stand. This will start to tilt the motor into the upright position. Continue lowering until the motor is at rest on the cart. Unpin the plate and roll the cart out to a convenient location and replace the motor. The sheave can be measured and reinstalled, so adjustment will not be required in place after replacement. If there is not enough room to roll the motor on the cart, it can be rolled on the ground. Disconnect it, then use the winch to lift onto the cart in the upright position, utilizing a hook and/or clevis and the eye bolt. Finally, reinstalling the motor. Roll the cart back under the cooler, aligning the top lift ring with the cable and reattach. Verify the cable is straight on the spool and slowly lift the motor into the vertical position. Set the stand feet onto the cart softly. Once the replacement motor has been uprighted, you'll need to disconnect the cable and remove the anti-crimp plate and reattach the cable. Remove the bolts from the stand. Raise the motor into position slowly, verifying clearance and position as it approaches the support structure. Apply hand pressure to the motor as required in order to fit into place. As the motor approaches bolt alignment, use a bumping of the controller to achieve lineup. It will only need to be close to bolt up, as a lineup bar can be used to achieve a perfect bolt hole alignment. It is very important to assure the loop crimp of the winch cable is not overrunning, fouling the motor side pulley at this time. Reinstall the motor mounting bolts, tighten as required, remove the safety bolts, bump to loosen the cable, then remove the pin from the lift ring. Clear the cable and roll it onto the spool for storage. Remove the keeper and the pin from the receiver, and remove the winch. Remove the lift ring assembly from the motor. You are now ready to proceed to reconnect the belts and guards and terminate the motor. Thank you for utilizing the RICKMO lift system. Your comments are greatly appreciated. Please visit our website to evaluate and/or comment on your experience. Our web address is www.rickmolift.com.